What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great Friday. Uh, as usual, my co-host, me, Amin, and the Dream are here, but I have a special guest, someone I probably haven't did any collaborative work with in at least 6 to 8 months. I wanted to have him on here because me and him are on the same wavelength when it comes to the Niners. So if y'all are here for like a really happy stream where we're gonna sing the praises of the red and gold, probably go switch somewhere else because this is going to be a truthful place. This is all about truth and honesty. So I want to get into this, but before I do, I want to introduce my co-host, Amin the Dream. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Pleasure to have another guest on, Rich. Obviously straight out of the Bay Monday,
Yep.
so this is the second time I'm doing a show with him this week, but pumped.
And Rich, how you doing, man? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, man, but I'm glad to be on, man. It's a good Friday. It should be fun, man, regardless of the 49ers not being so fun right now. So,
Right.
yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. I used to get really mad after games. I mean, or during games, like to the point where I would throw stuff and break stuff, like just stupid, right? Ever since I've had the channel, I don't get that feeling anymore. Like I'm almost relaxed because I know I'm going to have an outlet to talk about things. Whether that outlet is received well or not, that's a whole other thing. Don't really care at this point. But before it was like, it was so like everything to me if a game ended a certain way. So I'm glad to have you guys here to talk. I was going to talk about the offense first and what we need to do to get that going. But I wanted to hit up this injury report that I just saw. And it's pretty rough. We got Eric Armstead, Kyle Juszczyk, Dre Greenlaw, and Deebo Samuel all out for Sunday. And Jason Barrett and Juwan Jennings questionable. I'm going to start with Rich since he's the guest. Man, we've been 49er fans a long time, all of us, and we've been very aware of what's been going on since the beginning of the Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch era. Man, do you ever see us ever really truly being able to ever compete for a ring if we constantly have this injury situation every single year?
Um, and it's tough to overcome, it's like there's so many sides to it because, it's like every team. All right, here, I'll just break it down really short and simple. Um, every team goes through injuries. We, under Shanahan, statistically have had the most in
Mm-hmm.
since 2017. Those are just facts. I would be confident in saying, yes, we could overcome this, and yes, we could win a Super Bowl if we had a top 5 quarterback. One thing about the quarterback position is it is the most important position on the football field, and when you have that top guy, you can overcome certain obstacles. Now, when you have a mediocre quarterback and you're dependent on that defense, because it's the most important position, everything else almost has to be perfect. Now, I made a funny video about a year and a half ago, talking about I kind of almost did a lightweight Dumb and Dumber type thing where I was kind of talking, or where the girl was telling Jim Carrey about, there's a 1 in a million chance. And I was kind of mocking that lightweight, like, hey, if everything goes perfect, if the defense is perfect, if the playmakers are perfect, if the special teams is perfect, we got a chance, faithful. But it's hard to overcome these kind of obstacles when you don't have um the quarterback that can pull out games at the end. So that's why we're always seeing these top quarterbacks. It's rare to see a Dilfer pull it off.
Yep.
And if I go back to some of those teams that did pull it off, the Flaccos, the Foles, those kind of guys, they probably didn't deal with these type of injuries or obstacles. So it's hard, man. It's hard to say the least.
Before I get to you, I saw something today that the Eagles actually have a clear injury report going into their game, which means there's nobody on it. They are the least injured team in the NFL, whereas like the Niners, you could say, maybe without statistics backing it up, but just say like they're the most injured team by not even it's not even close. RE Investor says, "Hey Aaron, in addition to our injuries, the Rams got back several players too from their secondary and their starting center. This is a trap game for us in many in my opinion. Hope we win. I don't even know if this is a trap game. I just think we're at the point now it's just a battle of attrition, and we're losing that battle in probably a season where the NFC West and the NFC in general is as gettable as it's ever been. And that's the part that pisses me off. I mean, what you think about all these injuries, man? Are you going to go with the mindset of, oh, Aaron, it's just football, everybody gets hurt? Or do you think there's a philosophical or some other, is there a curse? Like, what's the deal?
I honestly don't know what's the deal because it seems like for the Niners, injuries happen more often and they occur more often than for other teams in the NFL. And Rich, you kind of took the words out of my mouth, is that like it's going to be hard for the Niners, right? With this roster, we already know the talent that this team has, but the issues that this team faces every year, even the year that they made it to the Super Bowl, was and is injuries. And it continues to happen. And this week with guys like Debo and all the players that are out for this game, like Niners players get hurt more often, and I don't know what exactly the one main reason is, but when you have a quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo who isn't great and who's just mediocre and sometimes below average, it's hard to overcome those things. It really is hard to overcome those things. And you mentioned it perfectly, Rich, was when you have a guy like Brady or you have a guy like Mahomes or you have a guy like Herbert or Josh Allen, if you have injuries on your offensive line or if you have receivers out or you have some defensive starters out, those guys can play at a high level where they can help you overcome certain things like that. Well, with Jimmy Garoppolo in this offense, you can't really overcome those things because this team relies on the defense, and this defense has been depleted with injuries this whole entire season. And as the weeks progress, more players start to get hurt defensively. So it's hard to overcome those things. So I don't know really. I don't know what the main reason is for these injuries, but it's really hard for the Niners to overcome certain things for the Niners to overcome these things because of the injuries. And when you have a quarterback that's mediocre to below average, who can't elevate his play when things aren't the greatest around him or he's not at 100% strength, it's hard. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, the Niners don't have any more injuries, which that's probably not going to be likely, but it definitely is going to be hard for the Niners to overcome these things because when you don't have a top 5 quarterback or an elite quarterback that can help you overcome these things, it's hard. And that's why it sucks that Trey Lance is hurt. That's another reason why it sucks that Trey Lance is hurt because now it's week 8, week 9. Hopefully, Trey Lance potentially could have, gotten used to the NFL week by week and hopefully settled in as much as he can. But next year is going to be Trey Lance's first year, so who knows how well he'll come out next year because that's going to be his first full year, hopefully as the starter. He's going to get used to the NFL and different things like that. And if he starts next year and if he's able to go, that'll be what his first, hopefully his first full season in about 3-4 years since the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it really sucks that Trey Lance got hurt because we and that's why I feel like the Niners drafted Trey Lance over Mac Jones. Even though I think, Mac Jones, might have been the more readier quarterback coming out of college, but Trey Lance brings you that upside. He
Yep.
brings you that upside not only with the running ability, not only to take the top off the defense with the arm, but he also has the potential to be a top 10 quarterback or a top 5 quarterback potentially in the NFL if we expect him to be if he turns out to be what fans expect him to be. So it really sucks that Trey Lance got hurt, and it really sucks that we continue to deal with injuries. And I saw a tweet by Steph 49K Sanchez that was it sucks when other teams are when someone else is living your dream because the Eagles have no injuries on their roster, and right now they're undefeated. So we'll see what happens, but it's really hard to overcome these injuries when you have such a mediocre to below average quarterback, especially the injuries around the defense. So it definitely is hard.
I want to say what's up to Pale real quick. Pale time, my man. He was actually in my right, like where I live, like within the city. He wanted to meet up today, but I got my bad wheel, so unfortunately it didn't happen. His one and only time down right in my hometown, and I wasn't able to do it. So I just want to say I am so sorry. It would have been awesome, but I'm hobbling around on crutches, so it wouldn't have been the most. It would have been a bad look, and it just wouldn't have been worth it. But props to Peo for coming in the hometown and staying a little. I guess I'll triple down on that. The quarterback thing is that a lot of these teams who go through injuries and stuff, like you said, like their quarterback can elevate. Their quarterback can sometimes take the whole team on their back, and they don't always have to have an ass load of weapons to do it too. So, like Jimmy is at RG3 said it best, and Steve Young was nodding right along. He said Jimmy has to have the run game running perfect. He's got to have the defense going perfect. Jimmy, if he's asked to do things on his own, it just doesn't happen. And that's, I keep saying in 2022, the fact that we have this issue, especially this being the franchise that kind of, was their main like drawn power was the fact that they had 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks who, when the team is down and they needed something to happen, this guy could take the team on its back and, drive, 80 yards with the last 2 minutes to go and pull out a crazy victory. The Trent Dilfer stuff just doesn't happen anymore, man. This league's too talented, man. If you go up against a Mahomes and you don't have a Mahomes or Allen type quarterback to go up against him, I'm sorry. You don't have a shot in hell. I don't care how good your defense is, because the whole saying that defense wins championships, I think offense beats good defense. Good offense beats great defense a lot of the times, just because it's tough to keep a team like the Kansas City Chiefs and hold them to say like 15 to 20 points. It's just not going to happen. So I don't know. Any other thoughts on this, Rich?
There could be, I have a feeling like, I don't really care to be like right. I just care to share what I think, kind of just, I'm not saying this is definitive or anything, but I think there could be a philosophy issue as far as how they're playing. Like as far as just playing super hard, like, I've mentioned it a few times, playing smarter and not
Yep.
harder. Sometimes it feels like, or not sometimes, but it feels like the philosophy is let's drag out the clock as much as we can. And sometimes I look at it like, how do I really explain it? Like I could see how that could like kind of limit maybe some of the defensive plays or whatnot. And then man, it's just super frustrating. It feels like there's no definitive like thing to point at, like Amin was saying, like, hey man, I really can't like figure out what this thing is with these injuries, but it just feels like there is not a definitive like philosophy or formula. And I know it has to be week to week. I know you got to kind of switch stuff up to catch people off guard, but it feels like that's kind of the philosophy. Let's always shift things around and move things around and experiment and try. But it's just like, then the quarterback, you have this lack of, execution to where it kind of probably forces Shanahan's philosophy on, hey, this is the way we need to do it, yada yada. And so it's just man, it's just super frustrating and depressing, to be honest.
To me, it's just like I told you before I let you guys speak, like this is a year where the NFC's down, man.
Yeah, man.
This is a gettable season. And of course the Niners are going to be a team that's mired in mediocrity with a bad quarterback with tons of injuries, right? It can't be any other place, or it can't be any other thing happening right now besides that. That's just the frustrating part. Dude, I don't even have expectations when I watch games. The only thing I'm worried about is, can we get out of this game with few to little injuries? I don't even worry about the score. I don't worry about win or loss, because this team every single game loses 2 to 3 starters at least. And it's not even close. And I love people to try to come at me with the football is physical, injuries happen. I'm like, nah, dude, not like the way it happens with the 49ers. Stop with that. Stop with that. That it is a physical sport, and yeah, there's a lot of injuries, but this is just not even, it's not even dumb luck anymore. There's something that they're doing. From what Jaquaski Tart says, the Niners don't know how to practice right. They don't know how to wind guys up or wind guys down to keep their bodies right. They seem to go, even though they have limited practices, they tend to go balls to the wall. So, I mean, that could explain some things, but I'm just at the point now, like, I'm a Niners fan for sure, like, red and gold, all that stuff. But like, I watch games differently this year. This year is kind of tiring to me. It's like I've seen all this before. The offense, same plays, Jimmy and his deal, the injuries. It's just like, Can we have something different, man? Like, come on now. We got this team loaded with all these players who have all this promise, and it's just the same old status quo. And it's like, when's it going to change? And like, for a lot of people, they're like, you got to be more positive. I'm trying to be positive. It's not not a ton of stuff to be positive about right now, but who knows? Maybe we win against the Rams, get healthy during the bye week, and we have another run in us, and all of us will be singing a different tune. But that's asking a lot. So I'm not really counting on that mentally. I'm just kind of letting things happen organically the way that they are right now.
Yep, and have you guys realized? But look at some of these former Niners players, like Dante Pettis. He's been healthy this whole year. You know, you look at guys like Jerick McKinnon. Like, obviously, he's not the RB1 in Kansas City, but he's been healthy while he in his time while he's with the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, a lot of these former Niners players are going on to other teams, and they might not be having significant roles in the offense or the defense or whatever that might be, but they're able to stay healthy for whatever reason on other teams. Where with the Niners, like, they would constantly be on the injury report. They would constantly not be able to go a certain week because of soreness or, tightness or whatever. Like, for whatever reason, like, even Marquise Goodwin, Jason Walsh said, like, Marquise Goodwin had like 2 touchdowns the other week, or when Marquise Goodwin with the Niners, like, he would get hurt like every other week, it almost felt like. So for whatever reason, with the Niners players just get hurt more often. And football, yes, it is a physical sport, but there's something about the Niners where, for whatever reason, it feels like just Niners players get hurt just more often, right? Like, I can understand if a guy goes down here and there, or a starter goes down one game and then another game nobody goes down, or a starter doesn't go down. But it feels like you kind of mentioned, Aaron, is that it feels like 2 or 3 starters go down every single game. Like, Dre Greenlaw went down last game. Like, it feels like numerous starters get hurt every single game. And I said it on Monday when I was doing Straight Out the Base. Like, I don't remember the last time I've seen a Niners game where some significant player didn't get hurt for the 49ers, or a starter hasn't gone hurt for the 49ers. Like, I don't remember the last time I've seen that. Like, it's been so long because every single week someone goes down. Someone goes down every single week.
Hey, it really does feel like that. It really does feel and then even Craycraft is catching.
Oh, jeez.
Like you said, it's not like they're playing significant roles, but they are at least contributing. I mean,
And they're able to
Craycraft,
stay healthy. And they're able
Cray,
to stay healthy.
yeah, they're staying healthy, and even if they're contributing a little bit, I mean, availability is half of the battle. They're available, they're contributing, even if it's anything, and like, it looks like it is from practice and the philosophy. There is a there is something up with, the way I think, and then if you add up all these little deficiencies, it's gonna turn into a huge problem. And I think that's why we're seeing it. I don't think it's one major thing, but it's a whole bunch of little things that is added up. And, you know, it's that part has definitely been consistent, man. The injuries.
That's the only part that seems to be consistent is the injuries. Everything else is like shot in the dark. Real quick, yeah. Tommy Huxley, I just want to say thank you for the $5 super. He says we're going to lose. No Debo. Who the hell's playing linebacker, D'Amico? I bet that Verrett is not playing. What about Jennings? Dude, I don't even know. I hate this is probably the most negative friggin' live stream tonight. Everyone's going to be like, wow.
Can I be honest? Can I be
whatever.
Honest? Yeah,
hey, go ahead. If it's true, it's true.
Yeah, can I be honest for a quick second, right? Like,
sure.
Even if we beat the Rams this week, it doesn't mean much to me because I've seen it before 7 times in a row in the regular season. It doesn't mean much to me if we go on and Levi South and we blow out the Rams, or like the Rams, like what we've seen in the past, like we put up 30 and the Rams put up like 9. Like, it doesn't mean much to me, right? Because I've seen the story numerous times over and over again. So if they go to Levi South this Sunday and they blow the Rams out or they beat the Rams, like, that doesn't really show me much. It didn't prove nothing to me because I've seen it numerous times before. And that's even if they beat the Rams this Sunday. Right? So if they do it, right, obviously I'd be happy that they get a win, but it doesn't mean much to me. It doesn't show me that you could go and beat these elite teams or go and be a Super Bowl contender because you beat the Rams. Like, that doesn't show me anything because I've seen you do it time after time after time again in the regular season. So it really, even if they do hypothetically beat the Rams, which we all hope for the best outcome, it doesn't show me much, and it really doesn't prove anything to me because I've seen it time and time again.
The moment they brought back Garoppolo, I was like, "Oh my god, like here we go. Like here we go. They are already creating unnecessary chaos."
Yep. Yep.
And it matters. These people are human. I don't care how good Trey Lance come out and says, "Hey, we're good friends." I don't care what Shanahan's it doesn't matter. You don't want to God, you cannot play the middle in this league, man. You gotta pick one way or the other,
Mr.
even
Miyagi said it best. He's like, you go on the right side of the track or the left side. You go down the middle,
yeah.
get squished like grape.
Hey, boom, there it is, and I always just call it lukewarm. Like, Luke, if you drink something lukewarm, you're probably gonna spit it out. You know what I'm saying? You want it to be, hey, you want it to have some ice in it or be, steaming. It's just
Yep.
kind of. And the minute they brought Garoppolo back, I try to be positive. When
Mm-hmm.
it's early in the season, we're all optimistic, we're all positive, but deep down inside, I'm like, oh my God, bro. A lot of us were. And then so even after that, then we see the way they're starting to run Trey, and we know what happened there. And from that moment, I thank God I know guys like you because I probably, I don't break things, but I definitely will just go ghost. Like, I'll still be watching the games, but I'll watch it quietly. I
Yep.
don't want to talk.
Nope.
I'll isolate all that kind of stuff.
Exactly what I do.
I don't never not watch, but as far as it's I appreciate or I'm glad I met guys like you and other 49er people because it helps me stay out of my funks and what I really,
Yep.
feel about the team and whatnot. But yeah, from those moments, it was like, hey man, we're playing with fire and then to Tommy's comment, it's once you see these things, it's easy to remember things like Buckner or DJ Jones or the Kinlaw, and then everything else that's happened. Solomon Thomas and Patrick Mahomes passing on Brady. We could go on and on and on. It's like, but it is what it is. Hopefully, everybody in there takes a good hard look in the mirror and it's enough with the excuses. There's something that can be done. Hopefully they're not too prideful to take that look and step up, boss up, bring back that 49er legacy that we all grew to love, man, because it's not there and it's pretty evident.
Definitely. I just want to say hi real quick to a lot of people in the chat. We have Bashar, 49er Minded, David Simonet, RE Investor, Tommy Huxley, No Border Sports, Jason Walsh, Damian Lee. Thank you, always being part of the stream. Again, Tommy Huxley. Who else we got here?
We got Straight Out of the Bay on the stream, and we got
We pretty much have
NWO
this
in the
straight up,
chat.
little NWO straight out of the Bay, little mix here going on tonight. Let's see who else we got here before my eyesight starts playing tricks on me. Brian Culp, as always, supporting. I've seen him a lot more. He's starting to make his appearance on YouTube. I got to get him and David McNew one of these days on the channel. Mariah Faithfully, of course, you're always part of this stream. You're the best. I love you. Just a lot of good people in this community take time out of their day to come and support other streams. It means a lot, man. It means a lot. It means a lot for you people who do, even if it's like 2 minutes and stuff. Because like I think it's important that we support each other. I don't know. But other than that, that's pretty much it. If we're all running the same race like we say we are, and we're doing this for the love of the community, then supporting each other is the way to go. So just want to say thank you. This is kind of a two-parter, and I'm going to mix it into one thing. My question or my topic was, what will it take to get the offense going versus the Rams? And then I put, will CMC get more touches? So I'll say this, and I'll ask Amin first, and I'll go to Rich. Is getting Christian McCaffrey more touches the key to getting a more effective offense, even with Jimmy Garoppolo at the helm?
I mean, I think obviously getting the ball to a guy like Christian McCaffrey definitely helps this offense be more effective. But at the same time, right, you have a quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo who's so up and down, who's so inconsistent. Like, you never know what Jimmy you're going to get on Sundays. You could get bad Jimmy, you could get mediocre Jimmy, you could get okay Jimmy, and then you could get Jimmy that throws no interceptions and that has like a 2 touchdown game and has, a good completion percentage. Like, you never know what Jimmy Garoppolo you're gonna get. So I definitely expect with Christian McCaffrey in this offense for this offense to be more effective. But even with Christian McCaffrey, it doesn't fix this offense's problems. It doesn't fix all the Niners' offensive problems because, like I said, when you have a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo who's so inconsistent, I mean, it really, like we mentioned in the beginning of the show, like it's really hard. And we kind of mentioned in the beginning of the episode, but with the injuries on the defense, and we saw it on Sunday against Kansas City, like this offense was horrible, right? Like this offense was horrible, right? And I
So
get it,
bad.
23, sure, you could say it's not bad, but like Jimmy Garoppolo threw a Hail Mary in the red zone, right? Like, which I'm like, okay, like that was just like, all right, that was a stupid move, Jimmy. Like that was kind of what you did in the Super Bowl, but
Especially when you have Jeff Wilson Jr. running
wide
wide
open.
open over the
Wide
middle.
open. He Hail Married it. He did that in the Super Bowl. He did that in the Super Bowl a couple of times. But see, it obviously helps to have a guy like Christian McCaffrey, but you never know with Jimmy Garoppolo. And even with Christian McCaffrey, it doesn't fix his offensive problems. And even more than, just the issues on the field, the injuries, right? Like we already talked about it, but the injuries, right? Like guys go get hurt all the time, like all the time. So with guys keep getting hurt, with the issues that you have, penalties, undisciplined offense, undisciplined defensively, like it definitely is hard. And like I said, I definitely expect this offense to be more effective with Christian McCaffrey. When you have a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, you never honestly know what you're going to get from this offense. And quarterback is the most important position on your football team. And I don't think, a win is a quarterback stat, but I think quarterback and quarterback play has a lot to do if you're going to win that specific football game. And if Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have a great game and he has to throw 40 times, like a lot of those games, we don't win. As the defense is struggling, we don't win. And you kind of mentioned in the beginning of the episode, like RG3 mentioned it, right? If the running game is going well, the defense is dominating, everything is going right for the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo has a decent game and this Niners team win football games. But if, things aren't going right for this Niners offense or the Niners defense, like in general, just the defense, and, the running game isn't going, can Jimmy Garoppolo in this offense, kind of pick up and pick up the load a little bit? And so far, we haven't seen that. The only game that I could say I've seen that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch regime would be that Saints game. That was the only game where I'm
That's
like, all
it.
right, this offense is actually doing something, right? The defense hasn't been doing much this game, but it's Drew Brees, it's the Saints. But that could probably be the only game where I would say you went up against a good team and the offense actually had a major part in you winning the football game. But that was 2019. So offense has a lot of question marks. Obviously, it helps to have Christian McCaffrey, but the offense still has a lot of question marks and a lot of holes that they have to fix.
You know what's sad too is that even in that Saints game, a few of those huge plays were really made by the wide receiver
Yep.
or a mess up by the defense.
Yep.
So it's
Underthrown.
like the one game that he did win, you know what I'm saying? If I really were to go, break that whole 22 down and whatnot, because I know I seen what I seen, and I was like, hey, so looking on paper, yeah, Garoppolo threw 300 yards versus the Chiefs and this, that, and the other. But man, if you really know the game and you're really watching what you're seeing, Jimmy Garoppolo is kind of like, even if CMC does explode and have a few just amazing plays and puts up some stats, it's like the game is won and lost. It's almost comes down to if Garoppolo didn't make mistakes, no matter what happens. It's like, if Garoppolo doesn't make, those 4 ridiculous plays and maybe only makes 1, we might win the game with these injuries now. Earlier in the season, it's like, yeah, we're going to win that game. Defense is humming, run game is going to do their thing. And now it's like, we're basing this off of, is Garoppolo going to make these mistakes? Is he going to throw a 5-yard Hail Mary? It's comical at this point, but it's like, I kind of come back to a point to where it's like, why am I surprised? Why does this continue to surprise me with Kyle Shanahan and Garoppolo?
Yep.
But it does, because it's like, I still hold on to the 90s. I still hold on to it. And I'm
Me too,
learning,
brother.
I'm learning to try to be realistic to myself and whatnot. And like, hey, this is what it is. This is when you're in the middle and lukewarm and there's going to be chaos, there's going to be confusion, there's going to be drama. And man, I've prided myself on not being any of those things. So it tears me up, man. It tears me up. But now I'm kind of being changed to a point to where it's kind of comical. And it's unfortunate. But I hope one thing that makes me feel like CMC, like I love CMC. I
So do
can't
I.
wait to see this electricity, at least for the spark, who knows if that'll translate into wins. I hope so. But one major factor about last year, the 7-2 run, every single one of the defensive linemen improved. I mean, it was statistical. You seen the eye test and on paper. Like I think all 8 of our defensive linemen just progressed. And yeah, we don't have DJ Jones. We don't have Arden Key. Drake Jackson is doing well. But it just feels like the same vibe isn't there. Armstead is hurt. Kinlaw, he's hurt. Kinlaw was supposed to be that huge dude because of DJ Jones going. And not taking nothing away for the guys who are stepping in, but that does take you a notch down. And then I feel like Debo was an element of surprise running the ball. People, have come at me kind of, oh, he wasn't no surprise. Debo's Debo. But also, Debo was also in that contract year, man. He was going for the bag, man. He was putting his heart and soul on it. Probably a little bit more for the bag and not Kyle so much. Of
I
course, you're
was
gonna do
just thinking the same thing today.
of course you're gonna do it for your brothers, but not everybody's the same. Not everybody has the same kind of heart. Not everybody truly loves football. I'm not saying that Debo doesn't, but and then I think there was a few other guys last year who were playing for contracts. Whether it was K'Wan Williams or DJ Jones, Arden Key. There was a lot of guys. There was a lot of fight that was shown that I think it was part of getting paid, which they should. I'm pretty sure they all got families and whatnot. So I'm not discrediting that, but it seems hard to see that same kind of fight being displayed mixed with how much chatter we're hearing from the frustration of Kittle, from Ayuk, Jimmy, even oh man, even Jimmy came out and of course he's got a reason to be frustrated regardless of him being mediocre or not. Hey man, this was my team. You went and traded up and so we got Jimmy early in the season talking. We're back to the injuries. We got Kittle talking. People weren't fighting as hard for contracts. It's just it could get ugly and then we could go on a run. Hey man, miracles. I'm trying to inspire myself almost,
I've met, you
miracles.
know what? I've known you at least a year or so, bro. When I
Yeah.
met you, you were so passionate and freaking just
We got
49er.
this, y'all. We're gonna whoop
You
on the
had, I
Rams.
can't believe this
We are gonna
transformation.
Hey
I
man.
feel horrible because
That's
you're
what the
such a
Niners do to you. That's what the
Hey,
because
Niners
he's
bro.
do to
you're
you.
always such
Hey,
a
bro.
positive
That's
person.
because I truly still do believe in Trey Lance. And without
Me
Trey
too.
Lance being there, and I'm not this dude that's like, I'm a Niner fan because like I like Trey. You could see it in the back, man. I've been rocking, you know what I'm saying?
You got JM back there. Looks like
Yeah, man. I've been rocking with the Niners since my first memories, but I did have a whole heck of a lot more hope with a guy like Trey Lance. Like right now, I'm at the point because I know exactly what Jimmy Garoppolo is. I would be more motivated with a Colt McCoy. I would be more motivated
because you haven't
with
seen.
with a yeah, no, actually, I have seen Colt McCoy come into our
That's
house
true.
and
He was
put a
pretty
beat down on us.
right.
And people think, oh, it doesn't matter. Colt McCoy, look at his stats. He ain't a winner. I seen that man come on our field and do what Garoppolo hasn't been able to do in 5 years. He was playing the quarterback position beautifully. I'm not saying he's great or anything, but I think something like that, like I could see a Fitzpatrick
I wish.
playing the quarterback position better than Jimmy Garoppolo, like talent-wise, physically, mentally, all of it. That's just me. I would rather see, like, of course, the spark of CMC is nice, but we need to see that spark from the quarterback position. Whether I don't know what other guys are out there. I wouldn't want to see a guy like maybe Cam Newton, like you said, polished. I would want to see, someone who just knows how to make the reads, knows where to go, knows how to take knows how to take advantage of disadvantages or knows how to take advantage of a rookie cornerback. It feels like when was the last time we seen the 49ers, find what's the word I'm trying to look for? Find not
Diamond in the rough.
deficiency. But just when was the last time we seen Kyle Shanahan attack a weakness? That's what I was trying to say. Attack a weakness and just, like, man, they're having a field day on this rookie over here. They're having a field day on the Chicago Bears, even though that was a monsoon game, but they have a lot of young cornerbacks. I can't remember the last time I heard, hey, Shanahan really called a heck of a game all the way through, beginning to end. He really took advantage. That was masterful by quarterback or coach. And so it's disheartening, man. There was a lot of hope with Trey being there and his development and growth and potential. And we've seen this before, man. So I think there's a couple days left. Go get Colt McCoy or hit up it's magic.
Yeah, get him off that desk and put him. You say Kels just went to Mustafar. How will we get a Star Wars reference in here? That's freaking awesome. I just want to say hi to Ty Alston real quickly.
Yeah.
Always here supporting the stream. Mustafar, you a Star Wars fan? That's the planet that Obi-Wan and Anakin, who's become Vader, fight on, and Vader gets all burnt up and chopped up and gets put in the suit after. That's the planet Mustafar. That's the prequel to the old movies where he's in the suit. This is how it ends.
Is it a good thing or bad thing?
Well, I mean, it's probably the best lightsaber fight in the series.
I'll take it.
I have the high ground.
Anakin thinks he has the high ground. Obi-Wan tells him not to jump, and when he jumps, he chops his legs off, and he rolls down an embankment near lava and catches on fire. And
so I just came through with hot fire.
You just came through with hot fire like Mustafar.
There we go.
Awesome.
There we go. I'll take it.
I'm gonna do this again with I love the Star Wars reference. Absolutely, dude. I had Joe Shasky on my channel, okay, from 95.7 The Game. I told him in the pregame chat, I was like, you down talking Star Wars? He's like, absolutely. Dude, you know how comfortable that made me knowing that I'm going to take a portion of this interview and I get to talk about nerd stuff and not get judged. It was great. I just got to say that was fun.
Yeah, Damien said Obi had the high ground. Yeah, he did. He was like, I have the high ground, Anakin. Yeah, yep.
I was told, I guess I'm more like Vader because I have the red in the background. Yeah, well, I was told by an ex-girlfriend that I could never be a Jedi because I have too much anger in my heart. Like, I have a vindictive side to my personality. So that sucks. I got to change that. I'm trying to get better. That's why I don't break stuff after football games. I just go on my channel and complain about it, I guess. So my question on here was, can the defense bounce back? And then also Jimmy Ward position swap. So let's kind of mix those two together. I'll start and then I'll kick it to who wants to go first after me? Does it matter? Okay. So we got Jimmy Ward getting forced to go play nickel, which he doesn't seem too happy about. You mix that with the fact that this linebacking core is in major trouble right now. Can the Niners figure out a way to bounce back against the Rams, or is this going to be a shootout game that again we're going to have trouble scoring in? Like, what's the this is a tough one, Rich. I mean, like, can we bounce back against this team, or is it going to be more the same as we saw against Kansas City?
Nah, we can. We got the Rams number. It's a division game. We know this team. Andy Reid is masterful. I know McVay and Shanahan and LaFleur and these group of guys are these guys, but I mean, it feels like Andy Reid got that real. He's got all these guys kind of got the tie to Bill Walsh disciples or whatnot, but it feels like Andy Reid is just that more old school dude. We haven't seen him in a while, and then you mix Andy Reid with arguably the best quarterback in the league and Patrick Mahomes. And then, you know what I'm saying? That's just a different story. But versus the Rams, we can definitely we could definitely win, even against everything that we're going through. You know, I could definitely see us going on another run, regardless or not. Like all the stuff I did bring up, it just depends on if the guys are going to fight for it. It just really depends on, the players. And
Have
but
you
but
noticed that too? That the players seem like they have a little less fight in them this year? Because I
oh
sure have.
yeah, yeah. If it feels like instead of them, I'm trying to remember at this time last year. Did it? I don't think I heard, as much of chatter with unhappiness and Kittle and Ayuk and Ward and Jimmy and you know what I'm saying? It just has a different vibe this year. And, rookies not, it's just so much. Gray not being used, TDP not being used, Mason not being used. And we go out and grab a CMC that trying to be the kinda like what Debo was last year, it feels like that's, what CMC is gonna try to be this year. The element of surprise of how Debo was used halfway through that season, which really catapulted us. It feels like CMC is gonna try to not him try to be that, but that's what Shanahan's trying to do. Let's see if CMC could come and be, the Debo of last year, but my little issue with it is teams know CMC is gonna run. He's a running back and a very good slot receiver and all that stuff. I feel like Debo last year was that it kind of caught people off guard a little bit more. It switched things up a little bit, and we could definitely do it. We could definitely win because the Rams. I don't know. I just feel like they're not that great of a team.
They're
You
not.
know, so of course, but then I still have that feeling like a mean to where it's like, even if we do win this, like I'm at that point, even if we do get into the playoffs, like, you know, man, it's just tough, man. It's kind of just like I just want to see I could be really, really proud of this team if I seen like Kyle change his tone, if I seen accountability starting to take place, if I seen philosophy like a true effort on making true change, because this kind of stuff leads me to believe if I don't see a little bit of change with philosophy and accountability and heart and things like that, then it makes me believe that they're going to run Trey the same way they did. It makes me feel like it's gonna be the same crap. Like, no matter who comes, we can have all the all pros surrounding Jimmy. Does it really matter? If there's a philosophy and a leadership issue. So it's like I would be happier in a loss knowing that we were like giving it our all and not just on the field, not just the players going full throttle, but just like knowing that, like, the coach is real and I know it's a business, and I know I'm kind of mixing in, personally when it comes to heart and caring and stuff like that, but you would like to think that these, especially the leaders, especially the coach, um, that they would do something to change the culture. It's like, what is the culture of the Niners? You would think there would be a solid foundation of culture, philosophy foundation after 6 years, and it feels like it's chaotic.
Hmm.
It's like I don't know if that's the scheme to make sure revenue is circulating, but it has a little bit of feel of that. That's just me. So
Ari Investor, he says, 49ers first takes. I think they could bounce back if they run the rock a lot. That will be the first key. Second is to run off secondary and let CMC work underneath in the passing game. He's the difference. I just want to say something, and then I'll let you talk to me. There is a really weird, there was and is, it was like a dividing of the 49ers community, content creators, people that follow the team, fans in general, when that Lance injury happened. There was
mhm.
people who were legitimately heartbroken and really not necessarily given up on the season, but just knowing that they have seen what they've already seen with Jimmy, and they were looking for and being hopeful and being able to understand that we were going to go through some ups and downs with the kid because they were going to happen. We
Yeah,
might be the same record right now, but at least he's getting that experience, right? There was a divide where people didn't want to hear anything negative. Where, and I'm talking people that make content, like they were refused to accept that there is fundamental issues wrong. They refuse to accept that you can have all the faith in the world. Jimmy Garoppolo's never going to change. and we're so dismissive of the kid getting hurt. And the fact that I saw players the same way, like already talking about, I'm glad we can go back to 49er ball with
49ers.
freaking Kyle Juszczyk and Kittle and McGlinchey and all these other people that are all like BFFs off the field. Dude, it just, I'm there's a part of me that almost, and I'm not saying this so
Like,
people don't attack me.
Makes me want to grab somebody up, man.
Yeah, like I want to yoke somebody up and be like, you know what? I hope you guys get your ass kicked this year for that kind of attitude, because I'm getting sick of it. And I'm just like, and the fact that like you collaborate with people or you other people on YouTube and you put that opinion out there and people will unfollow you, they won't watch you because you're like so frustrated because you wanted to see what this kid could do and what potential this offense could unlock with all these skill players. And then we're just back to the same old status quo. And like people are like, they were okay with it.
They
and
were
now
cheering. They were cheering. They were cheering in
My
the
boy
stands.
Bashar went to that game and said there was people actually cheering for Jimmy when Trey got hurt. And one of the dudes had the nerve to say, well, Trey really wasn't lighting it up in this game anyways. Like,
it's like, dude just broke his ankle. Like, dude, and it's not even, it's just the human element.
If I would have been at that game, someone would have got elbowed in the eye socket, dude. Because
I was at that game. I was at that game, right? And
when someone breaks their ankle, that's pretty. I don't care if it's you're walking down the street. It could be his career,
bro.
You could be walking down the street, and that's kind of catastrophic when you break a whole ankle.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, have some damn heart and some class. Like, are you so commercial? Like, I don't know what to call it. I always go to commercialized, but this world has just gotten so soft in so many areas, but then so just robotic in so many areas. It's like, hey, to each person themselves, everybody is different, which is a great thing, but sometimes it's very unfortunate.
I remember making a comment in a stream where I told somebody, my negative kind of outlook now that Trey's not in there, and that I didn't have really a great outlook for the season. And then it's, I don't want, kind of like I didn't want to see Jimmy Garoppolo again. And they pretty much told me, and I donated too, and they told me pretty much like they couldn't get down with my negativity because I gave my honest opinion how I really felt, knowing that we have a lost season with this kid and we're going to go back to the same status quo. And these people think the status quo, well, he is the best right now for the current team, because this is a win now team. Really? Do we look like a win now team with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback? Nah, I don't think so. So, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just had to get that off my chest because I know Bashar's been waiting to hear me going on people. So I figured I would do it.
I feel it. And that's the thing. 49er might have mentioned it. And I was at that game. Like, Trey Lance got hurt. I was zoned out. Like, I couldn't believe it. And then literally seconds after, people were like, Jimmy.
Seconds.
Like, literally seconds. It was not even like, it was seconds after, right? The card comes out. Like, there's people chanting Jimmy's name, right? And then, like, I'm like sitting there, like, all like, dude, this can't be happening. Like, our franchise guy just got hurt. Our potential franchise guy is gonna be out for the whole year, right? And when the card comes on, the guy can barely walk. Like, it's a serious injury. Like, he's gonna miss a significant amount of time, whether that might be the whole season or whatever. So it obviously sucked. And to answer your initial question about that Rams game, I mean, you go back to last year. The Niners were 3-5. They have a humiliating loss against the Arizona Cardinals, and they go out and they blow the brakes off the Rams on Monday Night Football, right? And it kind of gives you that same feel where you get blown out by Kansas City, and then you go and play the Rams at Levi South. Now, obviously, a lot of fans expect the Niners to blow out the Rams, and I think this is a game where the Niners could have a dominant game, and they could, blow out the Rams once again, like we've seen in the past. And I've already mentioned before, right? Like, it doesn't mean much to me because I've seen it before. But at the same time, I'm not going to be too overconfident if I'm the Niners. Because just based off the way the season has gone, like, there were certain games at the beginning of the year where I'm like, oh, the Bears? Like, yeah, the Niners got the Bears. Or, like, the Falcons? Like, yeah. It's just the Falcons. Like, we're the Niners. We're the San Francisco 49ers. Like, we have Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel, Trey Lance. Like, we should be able to beat the Bears or the Falcons. And what happened? right? We're sitting at 3-4 right now. We lost to the Falcons. We lost to the Bears. We lost to the Broncos, who only put up 11 points that game, right? Like, there's been games this year where I'm like, yeah, the Niners got this. Like, we should not be worrying at all. We got this game, and they just weren't able to execute. They were undisciplined, and we ended up losing. So, do I expect this a game? I expect, obviously, this is a game where the Niners could blow out the Rams and have a dominant performance. But at the same time, am I going to be too overconfident? No, because this whole season, there's been games, like I said, that I was like, all right, yeah, we're favored to win on paper. We should win. We're a better football team. And we just got dominated. We just got straight up bullied against the Falcons. We should have won that Broncos game. So this is a game where the Niners could definitely bounce back and have a dominant performance. But I would definitely not be too overconfident, because there's been games this year where I thought the Niners had a really good shot at winning, and they just weren't able to pull through. So this is a game where they could have a dominant performance, but don't be too overconfident.
I have zero expectations for this team this year, to be honest with you. But
Can I
I'm just,
can I
I'm
say one
kind of,
last thing, Aaron? Can I say one
yeah,
last
go
thing?
ahead.
I mean, the years that even the Niners have made the playoffs have just ended in such disappointing fashion. Like you guys were talking about, right? Like we're like upset, right? The Niners are 3-5. But even the year that the Niners have made a Super Bowl or made the NFC Championship game or
It's
made the
been
playoffs,
building. It's
it's been
building.
disappointment. It's just been straight, and like, I get it. This might not be a popular opinion, but the way the last time Niners have lost, like in the playoffs, right? I'd rather, just from me as a fan, right? Like my emotions, I'd rather have them not make the playoffs than for
Yeah.
them to make the playoffs and go and have a 10-point lead in the Super Bowl or NFC Championship game and then blow it. Time and time again.
I'm almost on the same hype. Like I almost rather see a complete disaster to see some real change.
Right. You almost want to think like if we have a disastrous season,
Something
And
will to change.
because I feel like if we have disaster, but then somehow we figure it out,
Yeah,
we're going to get lulled back into that false sense of security.
exactly.
And then next
And
year
then-
is going to be the same thing, and so on and
and
so
then you
forth.
make it to the
Yeah.
playoffs, you
Do
lose,
we-
and then same thing happens next year. Yeah.
Do we have to see a couple of years of Trey maybe not properly getting used to finally be like, all right, man, now we know for sure it's this, that, or it's I don't know. It's God, man, it just sucks, man. And to your point, Aaron, about people saying you're negative. I mean, if I mean, the 49ers aren't giving us anything to be positive about. I mean, this isn't just like, we got beat by a better team. And it's not like better teams are just like winning us and it is what it is. But, we're showing fight and the same old stuff that, I mean, this has been accumulating for years. Like Eamon, like Amin was saying too, this isn't just last week. This isn't just this season. This is starting to accumulate through the years. So the people out there who are judging people because they're fed up, because they're being true to themselves, like I feel like Aaron's being true to himself. I mean,
Rich is
that's him.
definitely, for me, knowing you and how positive you are when I first met you, it sucks because
I'm not gonna lie to myself.
Listen.
Hey, I'm still a very
You're passionate.
I'm
You are
passionate. I still got hope. I still got faith, but it's like I'm not gonna lie to myself. I'm not gonna lie to. I feel like I owe whatever I'm putting out. I feel like I owe it to myself and whoever is listening to try to be authentic and as real as I can. Actually, I'm not even trying to be anything. I'm just being me, man. So, it is what it is, man. If you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. Hey, we could win, but at the same time, hey, man, this thing could get ugly. You know what I'm saying? So, and it could be okay. Who knows? But I would like to see some change. That's all. Just from the top to the bottom.
I made a comment, and I think this is the comment that got that person to tell me that they couldn't get down with my line of thinking. It had something to do with Trey Lance getting hurt and not believing in Jimmy Garoppolo and that Trey Lance maybe give us a better opportunity. And I remember saying, to me, at least for me, I'm a Super Bowl or bust guy. If we don't win the Super Bowl, it's a failed season. And this dude didn't agree with me. Now, not a lot of people do, but I was a kid during the Montana Young era, where Eddie DeBarlo, even though we had 2 Super Bowls, was ready to fire Bill Walsh after the 87 playoff loss to the Vikings, where Montana looked really bad and whatever. And then he didn't. And then we ended up winning. And it was like the expectation of that era was win or nothing. And I pretty much, my own community, like people would say, like, I'm all about the journey. To me, it's about the journey. It's not about if we win or not. And I don't know, man. To me personally, if you don't win, then in sports, if the ultimate goal is for one team to win, if you don't win, technically you're a failure. Not saying you're a failure like at life, in that particular job where one team wins and the rest of the teams go home. And I still feel that way. And it's weird how we're kind of caught in this like mediocre thing right now with 49er fans, where they're like, okay, that we're decent, kind of, and that we have good players, kind of, and coach, kind of, and are not overly upset if the Niners come up short. And all I'm thinking of is, if we don't get to the Super Bowl and win, man, like, here we go again. I got to get ready for another offseason, another draft. And, and I get excited for it every single year, and I go through the same old emotions. And this year, it's like, I'm just not able to, I don't know, man. I'm in a weird state of mind where it's just like, I don't know if I could keep doing this. But
I feel like I would feel a lot different if like Kyle Shanahan carried himself. And I feel almost kind of dumb for saying it, because it makes me feel like I'm making it about me or whatever. But if I respected Kyle more, I feel like I'd feel a whole lot different about this team. I know
like, even
someone
if
could
we
say,
didn't make it or something.
I know someone could say, hey, take your emotions out of, take your feelings out of it. Hey, well, let me tell you this, because, people always like to say feelings over facts. Well, it's like newsflash. Feeling is a fact. If you have a feeling, that's a fact to you. You know what I'm saying? And we're all individuals. It might not be your fact, but if I'm feeling some kind of way, that's me. You know what I mean? I think people really like kind of, Super Bowl or bust. Just because you feel, that's you, you know what I'm saying? And no one can't take that from you or expect anything different, because that's you. That's what makes you, and I kind of feel that same way. Like, heck yeah, hey, it should be for Super Bowls. And one of the main ways of getting there is having a top quarterback, and it's been proven throughout history.
Always.
So
I don't know, man. Like, second place is first loser. Yeah. I almost quoted that movie to tell you, but I decided not to. Ari Investor, he says, I come from the same cloth, my friend. It's Super Bowl or bust every season. He's like, that's a championship mindset. All champions think the same, just like that. It's true.
Yep.
And it's weird that, like I said, there became a divide this year with some of the fans and creators, and it's just been like a really weird season. I think, like I said, a lot of people wanted to see what Trey Lance had. A lot of people were excited about the potential. Potential gets you fired. Right. Of course, I know that saying. But we know what Jimmy is, man. It's not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And some people will convince themselves that something different's going to happen. What in the line of disappointment have you seen so far gives you hope that something different's going to come out of a guy who's proven time and time again that when the pressure's at its highest, he performs his worst? In an organization where we had a quarterback named Joe Montana, who, when the expectation and pressure were at its most, he came through. In a Super Bowl, they were down, 16-13 with 3 minutes left, and the Niners were on their own 8-yard line, and they drove 92 yards to win a Super Bowl. Montana threw the touch. You know what I mean? Like,
was that the one where Joe Montana also said, "Hey, look, there's John Candy"?
Yeah, that was because Harris Barton was really nervous.
That is so, like, there's something special about that.
Jimmy tries to act like that guy, but he doesn't.
That kind of confidence. I couldn't imagine Garoppolo being in the same scenario. I feel like Garoppolo, you would see him shaking, and you would see his eyes, kind of like when he closed his eyes in the Super Bowl. It's frustrating. That's why, it's like, I'm not sitting there saying Brock Purdy is better, and I understand the politics behind it. Oh my God, if Shanahan does put Brock Purdy on there, he better be right. And I feel like there's so much analytical stuff going on and so much politics and so many things to where it takes the gut, it takes the heart away. It takes, for example, Bob Greasy in 1972 in the undefeated Dolphins season. I put up a couple tweets about it. He came back 8 weeks after breaking his leg and doing some other tendon damage. He came back 8 weeks. The other quarterback, Earl Morrall or
Monroe.
yeah, something like that. He came through and won, was undefeated in his time he came in through those 8 weeks. But Don Shula at halftime in the NFC Championship game, when there wasn't analytics and there wasn't all these politics, he had the guts and the heart to know that the team needed a spark after one mediocre half of Earl not playing so well. He went to Bob Greasy, who hadn't played no football in 8 weeks after a broken leg, and they won the Super Bowl. And not only did Bob Greasy win the Super Bowl and the Dolphins pull off the undefeated season, but he went on and played 4 more Pro Bowl seasons and 8 healthy seasons. He played like, so this analytical new age world is going to look at it like, oh no, there's no way he could ever do not put him on the field. That could wreck him for his career. Well, man, we've seen a lot of people drinking tap water for, a good like 30 years and they look like they're doing okay. It's like, I just feel like there's just some kind of a robotic type of everything's got to be based on computers. And I know it's the technology world. We wouldn't be talking to each other if we didn't have this.
Right.
But I feel like it does take away some of the spirit, some of the heart, and some of the guts of sometimes what could possibly be legendary moves. For example, the Bob Greasy move and Don Shula, the only undefeated team in history. And it took a gang of guts to pull that off.
Was wondering real quick how if you are able to keep going because my boy Amin's about to get out of here, and I wanted to wish him off. We could stick on for a little bit after if you're okay with that.
Yeah, it's all good, my man. Hey, you stay up, Amin, for sure, man.
I gotta head out, y'all. I appreciate you for joining us, Rich, and pleasure doing this with you, Aaron. Hopefully the Niners get a win on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll have something positive to talk about
Oh.
next week.
Yeah, maybe we'll have something exciting to talk about. The Rams, the 49ers won. Obviously next week's the bye week, I think, right?
Next week's a bye week, so we have to
CMC's gonna take us to the Super Bowl after next week. Watch.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
All right, homie. I'll
All right,
see you
my man.
later.
Peace.
All right, I'm gonna switch up something real quick here. Ba-dum. Hold on a second.
He said, "Hey, look, it's John K." A neighbor walked by. We were chopping it up about that. I wasn't old enough to witness it, but I've went back and I've read so many books.
I
on
was
the
9 years old during that Super Bowl. Our guy Beto, 49er Niners Sickness podcast, he went to every Super Bowl that we won. He said he was. Where is the comment here for all you people in the chat? This is so awesome. Where'd he go?
Oh, that's dope. I see it. I was a few aisles away from him.
That's crazy, dude. The fact
That's
that you were at that Super Bowl for any 49er fan had to be kind of like the game, set, match stamp. Like Joe's the man. Brady, he is what he is, and I guess you can call him the GOAT. But I don't know. Joe Montana will always be it for me. I'm going to ask you about this, just a random question. Who's a better coach, Shanny or Harbaugh?
Personally, I like Harbaugh. Like, like anybody who knows me, they know I like the old school.
Me too.
I like the old school, man. I like, I like to see some teeth. I like to see, I like
and screaming and all that
I like
stuff.
I like to hear about armadillo skin and war stories and being just engaging with the people. Like, I'm that kind of person. If I know I gotta, like, let's say I was a coach and I didn't like the media and I knew I had to talk to this media because it's part of my job. I'm going to force myself to get good at it. I'm going to force myself to get into an uncomfortable situation and try to learn, try to get over my little pet peeves of stuff that I might not like. I'm not going to be prideful enough to say, hey, I don't like the media. This is who I am. It works for me. It's my way and no way. And hey, everybody's different. But just me personally, I like Harbaugh. Now, if I were to really break it down and try to look at it like who do I think is better, um, Jim Harbaugh's record is better. You know what I'm saying? They kind of
in 2 less years.
his record is better. So it's like I'm trying to I'm trying to make it, just because I already personally like Harbaugh better. I'm trying to make it to where I can find something to give to Kyle, but it's kind of hard from all phases of it. I even put up a stat the other day and someone kind of didn't like it or something, but like Harbaugh was 11, 11, 11, and 25 in points per games. And points per game on offense the time he was here. Someone could look at 11 like, hey, that's mediocre and whatnot. And then Kyle's been like 20, 21. He was number 2 the 19 year. I feel like a defense had a lot to do with that, just the opportunities on offense. And then, it feels like it's hovering around 20. So, I mean, any little numbers and stats you kind of try to compile, it favors Harbaugh. The eye test to me favors Harbaugh.
We were healthier too.
Yeah,
and
healthier.
You could say this was that team with Harbaugh was as physical of a team, as we've had, and they stayed healthy up until that last season.
Yeah,
I think they were the second best team too every year. I mean, in the year they went to the Super Bowl and they almost beat the Ravens, they were that close.
Yeah.
Can you say that about the 49ers every year under Shanahan, that they were the second best team?
We've always been wishy-washy. It's always been more hopeful. And then even looking at Harbaugh, God, what was the one point? Oh yeah, shoot, he took someone like Alex Smith, who looked like, and God, it sucks for Alex Smith because we were all so hopeful for him, and then he had to go through so many different offensive coordinators and just getting, stomped every which turn. And then here comes Harbaugh. And this is why, like, instilling confidence into someone like really matters, because he really did instill that confidence in Alex Smith and elevated him. When have we seen Kyle Shanahan? Oh my God, he really took such and such, and he's really elevating him. Like, not never. So it's, and I hate the argument of, well, Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard and Brian Hoyer. I don't care who those guys were. Kyle brought those guys here. Like, he brought them here. He brought Garoppolo and those other guys. So, I think that's why people fantasize about this record that they have showed, God, hundreds of times. Look at the record of Jimmy and Kyle it's like it's kind of like the news. It's almost not hypnotizing, brainwashing. It's almost like you see the picture of this miraculous winning record together, and it's people who don't dive into it and really look at it, every factor could easily be persuaded onto Jimmy's a winner and so is Kyle.
I think my issue too with Shanahan is just Shanahan's so arrogant, and I don't feel like Shanahan could have had a quarterback come in and be able to take a back seat to that person, whether it was a Brady or a Rodgers or anybody else, because I just think he has to be the smartest guy in the room, and he's got to have the biggest balls in the room, and I have a big issue with that. So, I think Harbaugh was a better coach. You look at the record. We were in the NFC Championship game every single year, other than the last year. And with the record speaks for itself. I think the team was a more well put together team, tougher. Like you said, he supported his quarterback regardless of his limitations and what he could and couldn't do on the field. I don't see that with Kyle. Now Kyle can go win a Super Bowl with Trey Lance next year, and we could forgive all of it. But the fact of the matter is, it hasn't happened yet. So until that happens, I think a lot of us are going to have that mindset that Harbaugh was better, and I still think he is. Question about Levi South. Do you even care about that whole situation? thought the Niners are going to sell out Levi South. To me, it's a non-factor right now because this 49er fan or 49er team, to me, I don't know what to take of what I'm going to get on Sunday. So I don't really care about if Levi South is going to have 60% 49er fans.
I feel bad for the faithful, how they show up, the heart, that they show. I mean, they're showing up to Chicago, they're showing up to Atlanta, they're showing up, they're showing up to these places, and I feel bad for them. Like, they're putting a lot of time, effort, money, just bang bang Niner gang, and I still feel that like regardless of who is running the ship right now, there will be someone after him. It's not like I'm over here like how you said people come at you because you're being negative or you feel down about the team. You're not a true faithful or whatnot.
Right.
And I just feel bad for the faithful, man. It's like and I'm sure the Niners are trying to win. It's just a tough situation, man. Like I don't really feel like that has like a factor right now. Like
I don't either.
It just hasn't proved. Like, okay, like if we had a winning record on the road or whatnot, and it's still, to be honest, it still is young into the season. So, I mean, if it showed every game that the faithful was showing up large at, like, if it showed, that it's really producing W's, I might feel differently about it. But yeah, I don't think it's too much of a factor. I mean, it's cool though. It is cool the way we travel regardless. It shows something about like for our team. I don't think it has a factor, but I think it does still have a factor in the community. You know what I'm saying? Just how we ride. Like, the faithful are real faithful.
Yep.
Now I hope Kyle can demonstrate the heart of the faithful and be like a true 49er. We can all learn, we can all live and grow. Like we can all, like how you said, Kyle was arrogant. I'm sure we all see it. And if you don't, that's because you don't want to see it. That's how I look at it. Like, or you might be arrogant yourself if you don't see it. You might be, that same kind of type of person. But it would just be really, really cool. I think there was one time last year at the end of the season where Kyle was like, he tried to give the faithful a compliment, or I think he did. He said, good stuff for rocking with us through the year. Y'all really showed up. But I would just like to see that humanity, just that human element, man. And it feels like when I hear Kyle talk sometimes, it almost feels like he's talking about another team, or he doesn't really know exactly what's going on, or it's almost like it's not even like him that's the coach. Like it's almost like he's like had to be prepped or so. I don't know. It's odd. He
doesn't have like this I want to run through a wall mentality when he talks. Monotone, head down, hat on. It's just like, man, dude.
Automatically defensive, even on a good and it's not like
he has that nervous, arrogant laugh that when he thinks that somebody asked a stupid question about his offense or coaching. I hate that. I'm like, you're so cocky, dude. You haven't earned that yet, dog. Go win a freaking ship.
And then if you barely ask him anything that's slightly, and it's not even like Grant Cohn, he'll ask him certain things that's not even, people say tough questions when really it's not even like, I mean, I guess for the media of the team, it is, of course it's a tough question, but it's like, that shouldn't have been that hard, or that shouldn't have offended you like that. Like, what are you trying to hide, bro? Like, if those kind of things are offending you, then even that little detail right there just shows like you ain't a real leader like that, bro. If you're letting something little like that really get up under you, you ain't it, man. I don't know. Everybody has their differences and opinions, but that's mine. That's the way I feel about it. He said that.
He does that weird, like,
Yeah.
I hate that. Oh, man.
Hate it, man.
Niner Warrior says players answering questions like they won multiple championships as a joke.
Yeah.
Just this whole, like, this squad this year, like they show Kittle showing up in his ride with his girlfriend dropping it low, or his wife and his sister and their entourage. And I'm like, man, that bothers me, man. And then we're talking about National Tight End Day, and I don't care about it. Like nobody cares.
Oh,
Nobody
he did.
cares.
He did
I
the
don't
whole
care.
little. He did the whole little introduction, like sounding like he was The Rock or something.
Yeah, and with his hippie hair, like, dude, take a shower, lift some weights, get a clue. Like, come on, dude. Like, enough.
And
Ugh.
one thing about Kittle though, like because I put a tweet like about Kittle jokes, Jimmy just smiles, Kyle is yada yada. I was going on a little rant of just how it
McGlinchey
feels.
is clueless.
Yeah, McGlinchey is clueless. It just all has a fake feeling to it. But
Yes.
one thing about
Thought I
Kittle
was the
though,
only one.
like Kittle probably really just is that goofball of a dude, but Kittle seems like he probably does care though about football. Like I say that because I don't think he really would be doing some of these things. Like, I mean, he has started a thing with the tight end thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't think like if he really kind of didn't care, I feel like he'd in his off season, he'd probably go ghost like Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? So even though he's a goofball, I do have a little, respect for, Kittle, even though it's not like my flavor. Like I really don't care too much about wrestling or, but I'm a goofy dude. When I'm off of here, man, I'll be super goofy with my kids and stuff, and it is what it is. But
Listen,
there
bro,
is
I talk
there
Beavis
is
and Butthead with my nieces and get them
yeah,
laughing about stupid
yeah,
things from
man.
30 years ago.
As long as you love the game,
Yeah.
I don't care what your personality is, as long as you're trying to, demonstrate greatness and you love the game, I can respect that. I think I talk about that a lot too because I genuinely love the game. Like I played football, man, and when I play football, like I love it. Like when like there's a different feeling when you got the ball in your hands and you're shaking people up or you're trucking someone. I'm not the biggest dude and I didn't get to play for college and this and that, but I played a lot of football in my life, even if it was on the playground. And
Same.
you go in a different zone, man, and I would kind of black out and shake people. And if I knew I couldn't get away, I'm going to try to hit them before they hit me. And I'm gonna go down fighting, clawing, scratching.
You remind me
You
of my best friend growing up. He was a small, not saying you're a smallish guy, but he was only about 5'5", right?
Yeah,
He was so brave. Like he played
yeah.
kickoff return in high school, got his shoulder busted up. He was a little guy, but he was the type of guy, if you told him he couldn't do something, he would do it just to prove
Oh,
you
it's
wrong.
over. It's over.
And I
Yeah,
was like the big, tall doofus who
that's me.
was afraid maybe or didn't want to get hit or mom didn't overprotected because I was a skinny guy. And then you got this little dude with all this like hostility for people to prove, thinking he ain't no good or he's too small and to prove him wrong. Yeah, I that's awesome. I wish I would have played high school football. It would have been fun.
Oh yeah, I would. And then just even more than that, man, I love to study it, read it, watch it. Just football is I think some people are just naturally gifted. Um, some people use it to pay the bills, and some people, everybody uses it to get paid. Obviously, once you make it to that level, but some people have a true passion for it, and I hope we keep on bringing those kind of guys. I feel like a CMC, that's another reason why I like him so much because I could see that in him. I mean, I haven't met the dude, so I really don't know, but it seems like he's that guy.
He seems a little bit more serious than some of the guys that
Yeah.
we brought in here. And when I see Christian McCaffrey, all I could think of is Trey Lance
And
and
I was
potential.
just gonna say Trey Lance because Trey Lance seems like that dude who truly loves the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's hard to really decipher, or maybe for some,
There's
it's
a
hard
lot
to
of guy on this.
decipher.
There's a lot of guys on this team who I feel since they've gotten paid, they gotten a little soft.
Yeah.
Whether it's
And
true or not, and whether I'm an idiot and I'm just a stupid YouTube guy, and you don't agree with me and you think I suck because I'm like negative and stuff. I don't know, man. Sometimes I just get a vibe from people that when they get paid, it's like they go into business for themselves. Like they make a business decision. People say, what's a business decision? Oh, when you're like a DB and you got a running back coming towards you, and instead of trying to wrap them up, you just kind of sidestep them and olay them because you don't really want it. You don't want any of that. Like it does happen, people. That's all I got to say. So
especially if you truly are kind of fed up with stuff, you know what I'm saying? If there's stuff that's maybe been happening that, you might not completely agree with and you are paid, you might wake up one morning and look at your bank account and be like, "Ah, yeah, I don't feel like, oh, the shoulder hurts. I don't know. Maybe I'll take a good week off, or
It could be like the NBA players, load management. Just take a
yeah.
couple weeks.
Hey, man. Hey,
uh, Kobe
who
Bryant never knew anything about that. He used to say, "What the hell's load management, man?" Like Jordan too.
nah,
All that. That's just
it's because they cared, man.
they
They cared.
loved.
They loved the game, and then they also had a grasp for their legacy. They knew, they were striving for something greater. They were striving for every single little moment, but exactly what that huge picture is gonna look like when I'm sure they had thoughts about, "Hey, what is my tombstone gonna look like? Hey, when I'm retired and I'm sitting there, I don't wanna have no regrets." And rest in heaven to Kobe Bryant and whatnot.
Absolutely.
That was one of the biggest sport losses that I could ever remember.
Kind of put a
You
damper
know,
in that Super Bowl we were in, even though we were in it. I was
man,
like, really, like, dude, who cares?
yeah, I get the chills, man.
Yeah.
I'm a girl dad. You know what I'm
Uh,
saying? And then I think about it even more than just
I'm a girl uncle.
and
Like, it's different, man. Like, I don't even have kids, but I have nieces who
yeah,
look
but
up to me, and it's like, yeah, that's one of the biggest losses I think in sports, and just in
yeah,
history of just like world history or United
yeah,
States history. You know?
yeah. Because I mean, hey, it'll forever be talked about having that Mamba mentality,
Yep.
and it didn't matter whether it was a contract year, whether it was a practice, whether it was the USA Olympics. God, I'm fired up just even I could feel the spirit right now as I'm talking about Mamba mentality, and that's where true greatness comes
Jerry Rice
from.
had that mama mentality. They lost to
Absolutely,
the
he did.
Cowboys in the NFC Championship game, right?
Yeah.
I remember Michael Irvin telling the story. So they're at the Pro Bowl, and Jerry Rice comes up to Michael Irvin and is like, I'm already started work. I already started working like this year. Like
Yep.
this dude was already working on the following season right after that regular season ended. I think Steve Young said one time, it was after they won the Super Bowl, he saw him on the practice field running like, I don't know, wind sprints or routes or something like after nobody was at the facility. And that's just like, I don't get that sense with a lot of these players on this current team. There's some of them that I have that sense from that really do care, but it's just it's a different era. I
Hey,
can't.
maybe that's probably the best pairing you could have though is CMC and Trey Lance because
Yes,
one
two
of the
guys that
great
really give a
things
damn.
one of the great things about the CMC, those are the two guys who's probably going to get the most touches
Yep.
because CMC just ain't the running back either. Like, pray for their health. God, we got to talk about health with the Niners. Now I'm just terrified of how great Trey Lance and CMC could be and hoping that we could even see the true potential of both of them together. Like,
Without getting injured. Yeah.
with confidence being instilled to them and them actually being utilized properly and to the best of their abilities. And I mean, hey, this thing could be a beautiful thing, but it's hard to be super confident anymore. You know what I'm saying? And uh yeah, man, hopefully it happens. That's all I can say at this point. So hey, I'm glad, but hey, we do got those two guys, which are two huge pieces, and we got a lot of other guys locked up. I think it's only what Ayuk. I think it's only Ayuk who's like kind of in the contract year this year,
Trying to
or
think who else might be coming up on a contract year. I mean, Bosa, of course, he's going to get
yeah,
his contract. I don't know what's going to happen with Ayuk. I mean, McGlinchey needs to get to stepping off this team.
yeah.
That's all I got to say. Real quick, and then we'll get out of here. Predictions for Sunday. Do you have one, or are you just going to keep it to yourself? Because that's okay too.
Nah, I don't mind. I'm gonna freestyle it right now. I haven't put a lot of thought into it.
I really haven't
Um,
either.
hey, we do a game prediction show on Niner Beto's channel. Last
Okay.
man standing. And the last time we faced the Rams, I picked the Rams because I think I was fed up from the week before, so I was like kind of like, hey, I'm gonna pick the Rams, and You know, it almost makes me want to pick against the Niners because we wound up mollywhopping the Rams like the time I didn't pick the Niners. And, you know, I threw everybody off guard. You know, I'm over here, Mr.
Like,
Optimistic, you know, and oh, dang, Rich picked against them versus the Rams. And, you know, I just wanted to almost stir some stuff up. But, no, I think we could definitely get the victory. Um, I know it's gonna be close. We ain't gonna just come there and we ain't gonna mop nobody right now. But then that almost wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't doubt it to see like a 23 to like a odd score. I feel like it could even be some kind of 19, just something just random, like whether it's a missed whether it's a field goal and a missed extra, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be something weird, but I feel like it's gonna be real close in the lower 20s. Like I don't see it being no huge explosion on either side.
I'm gonna go 24-21 Niners. Niners kick a field goal. Trying to think. Wait. Yeah, Niners kick a field goal late. Robbie Gould with the winner. Garoppolo plays average. Niners defense has a rebound game. CMC has a strong game, and that's pretty much it. I can't really can't think of an else. Ayuk comes up big, maybe.
Because what has it been 2 weeks in a row where Ayuk, you know, he got targeted a lot, even versus the Chiefs the game before, where he caught the 2 touchdown passes. I think they're really trying to purposely feed Ayuk at the same time and just get him. It feels like they're almost trying to build a rhythm with each player one by one. It feels like it was almost a week before where, you know, it was more toward Debo early in the season. Then it was like, okay, we got to get Kittle involved. Okay, now we got to start getting Ayuk involved. Hey, it would be beautiful if we see this whole thing come together, man. You know,
go into the bye week with a victory. That would be nice.
Hey, we
top
still,
of the division.
I'm talking myself into it because we still do got talent, man. We still do. We still got the talent. We still do. But it feels like we've been talking about this talent so much and ain't seen not nearly where it should be.
Right.
But that feels like that's the 49ers MO. It's you're going to be continuously caught off guard, you know, every other week, you know.
Every time you get yourself confident, the Niners let you down, and then every time you're ready to give up on them, they surprise you. It's like, what is that all about? It's like bipolar.
That's it probably really does do well for the revenue. I don't know if there's a strategy there with politics, but
I don't know, man.
Unfortunately, hey, one thing that is true, sorry, faithful, but it is a business, and this is one thing that have learned over the 2 years.
My father used to tell me that all the time, and I don't want to listen to it back in the day.
I didn't want to. This part of the reason why I even stayed away from social and YouTube, and you know, I wasn't doing none of this 2 years ago. I barely even had a Facebook. I didn't even know how to use half of these things. I was like an old man, bro, like real talk. And I've come to the realization the more and more and more I dive into the reality of the NFL, just how much of a business it is, man. And it's a little disheartening, but there are some great dudes. Just because there is a business element doesn't mean there ain't some dudes that got that same fight and heart of a dog like I got or you got, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So hey, we could pull it out, faithful. You know, I've been going on and on about it, but hey, it's how I feel, man. So I appreciate you, Aaron, hopping on here and chopping it up.
Definitely. It's been a long time.
It's been too long, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll get it together, man. Just
me and you we maybe gotta do some. I have my show set during the week, but you know, I'm always definitely down to kind of do some offshoot stuff with people because we hadn't talked in a good minute, and sometimes I do my dark hole thing where I just go disappear for a while too off of social media, or I see people's messages but I don't answer them right away. So I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to spread my wings out again. I took a mental health break right before the season started because I was in a really weird place. I was burnt out. I was tired. I was just like sick of talking about stuff. You know, I was dealing with other stuff outside of work, outside of here too. So, but trying to get myself back in the game and making sure that I work with other people that are maybe less known and just like, because I feel like that, like I talked to you before in the beginning of the stream, doing stuff just for yourself on YouTube, I think is really selfish. I think people that there's like that middle group of content creators that all kind of intermingle with each other. And I think that's kind of like the lifeblood. And it's the part that I look forward to when we're having a crappy game or a crappy season, that I can like intermingle with like you or anybody else in the community and have a good time, talk Niners, and just have a healthy conversation. So thank you to the chat for everybody that was in here tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you for Amin, who was here with me, who had to get out of here. Rich, thanks for popping in with me. Till next time, everybody, stay safe and healthy. I'll see you guys Monday on NWO stream. Till then, guys, take care and go Niners.